Hello, my amazing students, and welcome back to another truly helpful and deeply life-changing episode here at English in Fluency. This is your special place, the channel where you don't just learn English words and rules, you also grow stronger and better as a person through every single word we share. I am Alex, your host, and I am so happy, truly delighted, that you are here with me today. Thank you. Thank you for joining. I hope you're doing great and ready to learn something new, useful, and interesting. Ready to explore new ideas and grow your English skills. Maybe you're out for a peaceful walk in the park, enjoying the fresh air and sunshine. Or perhaps you're busy cooking your favorite food in the kitchen, listening as you stir and chop. Or maybe you're just sitting quietly in a cozy chair with your headphones on, taking a moment for yourself. No matter where you are, thank you for spending this valuable time with me. I truly appreciate your presence. My biggest hope for today's talk is that this episode will do two great things for you. First, it will help you practice your English listening and speaking in a smooth and easy way. We'll use simple words and clear sentences, so the language feels more natural and comfortable for you. Almost like a second skin. You won't feel lost in complicated phrases. And second, it will give you some powerful new ideas about your own mind and heart that can truly help you feel better inside, live a happier life, and understand yourself more deeply. This isn't just about language, it's about life. You know, learning English, or honestly, learning any new skill, or even just living your daily life, can sometimes feel a bit tough, right? There are days when it just feels really hard, like you're trying to push a big, heavy box up a very steep hill. And in those moments, you might quietly wonder, deep down, if you're good enough, or if you can really do it, if you have what it takes to reach your dreams and goals. But please don't worry, my friend. Not even a little bit. On this podcast, I always use simple words, easy grammar, and a slow, clear voice. This way, you can understand everything well, without feeling lost or confused, without needing to rewind constantly. Every single episode is made just for English learners like you, especially for students who are at a B1 or intermediate level. So, if that sounds like you, if you're nodding your head right now, you are definitely, absolutely in the right place. Today, we're going to talk about a very special and important idea. It's a topic that touches everyone's life, no matter who you are or where you live. We're talking about self-love. Now, before you think this topic is only about positive quotes or taking bubble baths, let me tell you, it goes much, much deeper than that. Self-love isn't just about treating yourself to something nice once in a while. It's about how you talk to yourself in your own mind, how you think about yourself when no one else is around, and how you truly care for your emotional well-being, even when life gets hard and messy. And let's be honest, life is often busy, messy, and far from perfect, isn't it? In today's fast-paced world, we're under a lot of pressure all the time. We're expected to be productive, to look good, to succeed in everything, to always be on and available. Social media, work, family, school, friends, They all add to this pressure. And in the middle of all this, we often forget to ask ourselves, really honestly, how am I really doing inside? Or, even more importantly, am I being kind to myself? That's where self-love comes in. It's not selfish. It's not about thinking you're better than others. It's about understanding your true value, your worth, even when you make mistakes, even when you don't feel perfect. It's about recognizing that you don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love and respect. And most of all, it's about treating yourself like someone you actually care about, someone you truly love. So, why are we talking about this in an English podcast? Well, here at English in Fluency, I don't just want to help you improve your vocabulary and listening skills. I want to help you build confidence in yourself, not only in English, but in the way you think, the way you speak, and the way you live your entire life. This episode is not just about learning new words. It's about learning how to be kinder to yourself, how to speak to yourself with the same care and compassion you would give to a close friend, or even someone you truly admire. Throughout this episode, I'll be using natural, conversational English, the way people really speak in everyday life. I'll also ask you some reflective questions to help you think more deeply about your own life and feelings. You might even want to pause the episode now and then to think about these questions or take some notes in a journal. That's completely up to you. The goal is not to finish fast. The goal is to grow, both in language and in life. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's begin this important journey together. So, my friends, let's start with a very important question. What exactly is self-love? It's a phrase we often hear everywhere, on social media, in books, in songs. But sometimes it's not so easy to truly understand what it means. For many people, the idea of self-love feels confusing, or even a little uncomfortable. Maybe you've been taught that loving yourself is selfish, or that you should always think about others before you think about yourself. These ideas are common, but they can stop us from truly caring for ourselves. But let's take a moment to look at self-love more clearly, not just as a word, but as a way of living your life every day. Self-love simply means treating yourself with the same respect, kindness, and care that you would offer to someone you deeply care about. Imagine your best friend, or a family member you love very much. How would you treat them? You would be kind, patient, and understanding, right? Self-love means giving that same kindness to yourself. It's about recognizing that you are a human being who deserves understanding, even when you make mistakes, even when you feel imperfect. It's about knowing your true worth. And this worth is not because of your job, or how you look, or your achievements, or how many followers you have on social media. Number. Your worth is simply because you are already enough, just as you are. Right now, in this moment. You don't need to earn your own love. Now, let's talk about what self-love is not. A lot of people think that self-love means being arrogant or self-centered. They think it means you only care about yourself and no one else. But that's not true at all. Self-love isn't about thinking you're better than other people. It's not about ignoring others or always putting yourself first in a selfish way. In fact, when you truly love yourself, you often have more energy and kindness to give to others. It's like filling your own cup first, so you have enough to share. It's also not about saying, "I'm perfect and I don't need to change." In fact, true self-love often means being honest with yourself, facing your flaws, your weaknesses, and still choosing to be kind to yourself through the process of change. It's about saying, "I want to grow, and it's okay if I'm not perfect right now. I will be patient with myself." Think of it this way. Imagine you're on an airplane, flying high in the sky. Before the plane takes off, the flight attendant tells you something very important. They say, "In case of an emergency, put on your own oxygen mask first, before helping others." Why do they say this? Because if you don't take care of yourself first, if you don't have enough air to breathe, you won't have the strength or ability to help anyone else. You'll become weak. That's exactly what self-love is like. It's about giving yourself what you need, so that you can live well, love others fully, and handle the challenges that life brings. It's a necessary first step. Another common misunderstanding is that self-love means feeling good all the time, or being happy with everything about yourself. But real self-love isn't about always feeling great. It's not about ignoring your problems or pretending that everything is okay when it's not. It's about accepting your whole self, the good parts, the bad parts, and everything in between. It's about being able to say, "Yes, I struggle with this problem," or, "Yes, I'm still learning and making mistakes." And not using that as a reason to hate yourself or feel bad about yourself. Instead, you meet those struggles with patience and compassion, like a loving parent helps a child learn. Let's use another image. Imagine your mind is like a beautiful garden. Self-love is the way you take care of it. If you never water the plants, if you only point out the weeds, or if you speak negatively to the soil every day, saying, "This garden is ugly. Nothing beautiful will grow." The garden will become dry and sad. But if you give your garden sunlight, if you take time to pull out the weeds gently, and if you speak words of encouragement, even when the flowers are still small, saying, "You are growing beautifully," that garden will begin to flourish. It will become full of life and color. The same is true for your inner world, your mind. Some people also confuse self-love with things like luxury or material comfort. Of course, doing nice things for yourself, like taking a relaxing bath, or buying something you enjoy, or eating your favorite food, can be part of self-love. But the deeper, more important part of it is emotional. It's about the way you speak to yourself when you fail. It's about giving yourself permission to rest when you're tired, without feeling guilty. It's about choosing not to compare yourself to others, and understanding that your journey is unique, special, and perfect for you. And here's the thing. Self-love is not a one-time event. It's not something you do once and then forget about. It's a daily practice, like brushing your teeth or drinking water. It's in the small choices you make every day. How you react when you make a mistake, how you treat your body, how you talk to yourself when no one is around. Those small moments shape your relationship with yourself more than any big action ever could. They build up over time. So, as we continue this episode, I want you to remember, self-love is not a luxury. It's a foundation. Just like a house needs a strong base to stand tall and safe, we all need that inner support to live a healthy, meaningful life. And if that sounds hard right now, if you feel like you're not good at it, that's okay. You don't have to be perfect at it. You just have to start. Let me ask you something to think about. When was the last time you were truly kind to yourself? Not because you earned it, not because you did something great, but just because you exist. Because you are a human being worthy of kindness. Think about that for a moment, because that's where self-love really begins. It begins with simple, unconditional kindness. So, if self-love is so important, and we all seem to agree that it matters for a good life, why is it so hard to actually practice it? That's a very good question. And it's something many, many people struggle with. Most people want to feel good about themselves. They want to feel confident, kind, and peaceful inside. But something often gets in the way. And usually it's not just one thing. It's a combination of thoughts, habits, and life experiences that make self-love feel difficult, even impossible at times. Let's explore these reasons deeply. One of the biggest reasons self-love feels hard is because of self-doubt. This is that little voice inside your head that says things like, "You're not good enough," or "You always mess things up," or "Why even try? You'll just fail again." Maybe you've heard that voice before. Maybe you hear it every day, like a quiet but powerful song playing in the background of your mind. It tells you to stay small. It tells you not to try. It tells you to hide. And over time, that voice becomes familiar, like background music in your mind. But just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's true. Self-doubt often grows from fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment from others. Or even, surprisingly, fear of success. Because success can bring new challenges and expectations. Along with self-doubt comes negative self-talk. These are the messages we repeat to ourselves, sometimes without even noticing we're doing it. Phrases like, "I'm not smart enough," "I'll never be fluent in English," "I'm too old to change," "I'm not pretty enough," "I'm not strong enough." Have you ever said things like that to yourself? Now think about this. Would you ever say those things to a friend you care about? Probably not. You would be much kinder. And yet, we say them to ourselves all the time. Negative self-talk is like planting weeds in your mind's garden. The more you repeat it, the more it grows. And the more it grows, the harder it becomes to believe anything positive about yourself. It covers up the beautiful flowers. Another big reason self-love feels so hard is because of past experiences. Maybe someone important in your life, like a parent, a teacher, or a partner, made you feel unworthy. Maybe they criticized you often, or expected too much from you, always pushing you to be perfect. Maybe they told you that you had to earn love. by being perfect, or by always putting others first, never yourself. These old messages get stuck in our heads. And now, even though that person may no longer be in your life, their voice still lives inside your head, repeating those old messages. That kind of emotional baggage can stay with us for years, shaping how we see ourselves, without us even realizing it. It's like carrying a heavy backpack that you don't know how to take off. And then there's society, the outside world. We live in a culture that often tells us we're not enough. Advertisements show us the perfect body, the perfect car, the perfect house. Social media shows us the perfect life, full of happiness and success. Success is often measured only in money, status, or how many likes you get. And if we don't match those images, if our life doesn't look like the pictures, we start to believe that we're failing somehow. We feel less than. But have you ever stopped to ask, who created those rules for success? Or, why do I feel like I have to prove something all the time? These cultural messages are powerful. They are everywhere. But they're not always healthy or true for everyone. They create a kind of silent pressure that makes it very hard to feel okay with who you are, just as you are. Let me ask you something to think about. Have you ever felt guilty for taking a break? Maybe you wanted to rest, but then that voice in your head said, "You should be doing something useful. You're being lazy." Or maybe you did something kind for yourself, like saying no to someone who asked for too much, and then felt bad afterward, feeling like you were selfish. That guilt doesn't come from nowhere. It often comes from the belief that we must always be productive, always be helpful, and never put ourselves first. But the truth is, rest is not lazy. Setting healthy boundaries is not rude. These are acts of self-respect. And self-respect is a big part of self-love. It's also important to understand that self-love isn't something many of us were taught growing up. In many families and cultures, the focus is on discipline, responsibility, and sacrifice for others. And while those values can be good in the right context, they often leave no room for softness or self-compassion. Maybe you learned how to work hard, how to be strong, how to care for others, how to always put others first. But no one showed you how to care for yourself, how to be kind to your own heart. So now, when you try to practice self-love, it feels unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, like wearing new shoes. And that's okay. Like learning a new language. It takes time and patience. It feels strange at first, but it gets easier. The good news is this: just because self-love feels hard doesn't mean it's impossible. Difficult doesn't mean wrong. It just means it's new, and maybe a little scary. But growth always starts with awareness. When you begin to notice the self-doubt, the negative self-talk, the pressure to be perfect, that's the first step. Because once you're aware of it, once you see it clearly, you can start to challenge it. You can start to choose a different way. So the next time you catch yourself being hard on yourself, ask this simple question: would I say this to someone I love? And if the answer is no, then you already know what to do. It's time to change the message. It's time to be on your own side. Let's keep going. Because even though this journey isn't always easy, it's one of the most important ones you'll ever take, both for your language learning and for your entire life. Let's take a moment to talk about something we all experience, even if we don't always realize it. It's the voice inside our head. Sometimes this voice helps us stay focused and motivated, like a good friend cheering us on. But other times, it can become our worst enemy, saying mean things. We call this voice the inner critic, and it can be one of the biggest barriers to self-love. The inner critic is that little voice that says things like, "You're not good enough. You always mess things up. Why even try? You'll just fail again." It often shows up when we feel nervous, when we make a mistake, or when we compare ourselves to others. And the more we listen to it, the more power it has over us. It's like feeding a small monster. The more you feed it, the bigger it gets. The inner critic can sound very logical, even convincing. It might say, "Look at your past mistakes. You always do this." But what it really does is tear us down. It focuses only on our weaknesses. It reminds us of every failure, every time we didn't do well. And sometimes it even repeats things we heard from others in the past. Maybe a teacher who said we weren't smart enough, or a parent who told us to always be better. Never good enough. These old messages get stuck in our heads. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you've just tried speaking English in front of a group for the first time. Maybe you made a few mistakes. You forgot some words. Or your pronunciation wasn't perfect. Your inner critic might immediately say, "See? You sounded stupid. Everyone was judging you. You should have just kept quiet. You're so bad at this." That kind of message can make you feel deeply embarrassed, ashamed, or even want to give up on learning English completely. But is it helpful? Does it actually help you grow or feel stronger? Usually not. It only makes you feel worse. Now, let's imagine a different voice. The voice of your inner coach. This voice is not about pretending everything is perfect. It doesn't lie to you or ignore problems. It's honest, but it speaks with kindness, support, and encouragement. Your inner coach might say, "Okay, you made a few mistakes, but that's normal. Everyone makes mistakes when they learn something new. You were brave to try. You're learning, and next time, we'll be better. Keep going." This voice encourages you to keep going, even when things are hard. It focuses on progress, not perfection. It sees your effort, not just your errors. The difference between the inner critic and the inner coach is huge. One holds you back, keeping you small and afraid. The other helps you move forward, helping you grow and learn. One is built on fear. The other is built on self-respect and care. The truth is both voices exist in all of us, like two different channels on a radio. But we get to choose which one we listen to more often, which channel we turn up. Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I started creating podcast episodes like this one. At first, I felt really unsure of myself. My inner critic kept saying, "Your voice doesn't sound good enough. Your English isn't perfect. Who's even going to listen? You're wasting your time. It made me feel like giving up almost every day. But then I reminded myself to listen to my inner coach. That voice said, "You're doing this to help people. You're not perfect, but you're improving with every episode. And someone out there needs to hear your message. Just keep going, Alex." That small shift in mindset helped me keep going. And here I am, still learning, still growing, and still showing up for you. You don't have to get rid of your inner critic completely. That might not be possible, because it's part of your brain's way of trying to protect you. But you can learn to recognize it and not believe everything it says. When that harsh voice shows up, pause and ask yourself, is this voice helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting you, then it's time to turn the volume down on that voice and turn up the voice of your inner coach instead. One way to build your inner coach is to speak to yourself the way you would speak to a close friend. Imagine someone you care about, like your friend Chloe, is going through the same challenge. What would you say to them? Would you call them a failure? Or would you remind them of their effort, their progress, and their courage? Most likely you'd offer support, kindness, and understanding. So why not offer the same support to yourself? Changing the way you talk to yourself takes practice. It doesn't happen overnight, like magic. But with time and consistency, your inner coach can become louder, stronger, and more natural. And when that happens, self-love becomes a little easier, because you're no longer fighting yourself. You're standing with yourself, on your own side. So the next time you feel afraid, embarrassed, or like you're not enough, stop and listen. Ask yourself, who's speaking right now? My critic or my coach? And then choose the voice that leads you forward, that encourages you, not the one that keeps you stuck. Let's continue this journey together, because self-love isn't about being perfect. It's about being on your own side, even when things are hard. When we talk about self-love, it can sometimes sound like a big idea, something emotional, deep, or even abstract, like a philosophy. But the truth is, self-love shows up in very small moments. It's not just something you feel, it's something you do. And most of the time, it doesn't look dramatic or special. It looks simple and personal. It looks like the small decisions you make every day that say, I matter too. Let's explore some of these small but powerful acts. Let's start with one of the most powerful examples, saying no. For many people, especially those who want to be kind or helpful, saying no feels very uncomfortable. We don't want to disappoint others. We don't want them to think we're rude or selfish. We want to be liked. But sometimes, saying no is the most loving thing you can do. Not just for yourself, but for everyone involved. For example, if you're exhausted after a long week of work or study, and a friend invites you out to a noisy party, it's okay to say, I'd love to see you, but I really need to rest tonight. I'm very tired. That one sentence can protect your energy, your peace, and your health. It's a way of honoring your own needs. Another small but powerful act of self-love is resting without guilt. Many of us feel like we always have to be doing something, always working, always productive. We think, I should be doing more. But you are not a machine. You are a human being. And humans need rest. Taking a nap, going for a quiet walk in nature, or simply sitting in silence for a few minutes isn't lazy. It's necessary for your mind and body to recharge. Think about it. When your phone battery is low, you charge it. Your mind and body need the same care. Giving yourself rest is a way of saying, I respect my limits. I care about my well-being. Setting boundaries is another important part of self-love. A boundary is simply a clear line that protects your time, your space, or your emotions. For example, maybe you've noticed that you feel stressed when someone at work always talks to you during your lunch break, and you don't get to eat in peace. A boundary might sound like, I'm happy to help, but I need to take my full break today to recharge. It's not about being mean. It's about being clear and respectful of your own needs. Boundaries tell others how you want to be treated. And they also remind you to protect your own well-being. Self-love can also look like being proud of your progress, even when it's small. Maybe you've been trying to improve your English, and today you understood a full podcast episode without pausing. Or you used a new word correctly in a conversation. That's a win. Maybe you spoke up in a meeting, or finally started that project you were afraid of. These little victories matter, and yet many of us skip over them because they don't seem big enough. But progress is progress, no matter how small. And self-love means celebrating that progress, even if no one else sees it. Give yourself a mental high five. It also includes small things like preparing a healthy meal for yourself, going to bed on time to get enough sleep, drinking enough water throughout the day, or taking a break from social media when it starts making you feel bad about your life. These aren't fancy or expensive things. They're everyday choices that say, I care about myself. And over time, those choices build a stronger, more loving relationship with yourself. Let's not forget about how we speak to ourselves, even when no one else is listening. Choosing kind, supportive words like, I'm doing my best, it's okay to make mistakes, or I'm learning and growing, is a powerful form of self-love too. You don't need to say these things out loud. Even hearing them in your mind can help shift your mood and attitude in powerful ways. So now I want to ask you something. What's one small thing you could do today to take care of yourself? Not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. Maybe it's turning off your phone an hour early tonight. Maybe it's finally starting that book you've wanted to read for a long time. Maybe it's simply taking 5 deep breaths in a quiet room, just for yourself. Whatever it is, choose something small and kind. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. Remember, self-love doesn't grow from one big action. It grows from the small things, repeated over time. The more you practice these small acts, the more natural they will become. And with each one, you remind yourself of something powerful. I am worth care. I am worth kindness. I am worth love. Let's keep moving forward, step by step. You're already doing something good. just by being here, listening, and learning how to take better care of yourself. So far, we've talked about what self-love means and how we can practice it in small ways. But now, let's go deeper and look at something very important: your mindset. Your mindset is the way you think about yourself, your abilities, and your life. It's like the mental lens you use to look at the world and your place in it. And believe it or not, your mindset has a huge impact on how easy or hard it is to love yourself. There are two main types of mindset that psychologists often talk about: the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. If you have a fixed mindset, you believe that your qualities, like your intelligence, your talents, or your personality, are things you're born with and can't really change. You see them as set in stone. For example, someone with a fixed mindset might say, "I'm just bad at languages. I'll never be fluent in English. That's just who I am." Or, "I always fail at relationships. I'm not good with people." This way of thinking makes self-love very difficult. Why? Because if you believe you can't grow or change, then every mistake feels like proof that you're not good enough. You judge yourself harshly instead of helping yourself learn and improve. You get stuck in a negative loop. On the other hand, if you have a growth mindset, you believe that you can learn, improve, and get better over time, even if it takes effort and hard work. You don't see failure as the end of the story. You see it as a lesson, as part of the process of learning. Someone with a growth mindset might say, "I didn't do well this time, but I can learn from this and improve for next time." Or, "This is hard, but I'm getting stronger every day by trying." This mindset doesn't ignore problems, but it allows room for compassion and change. And when you believe you can grow, you're much more likely to treat yourself with patience and respect. You give yourself permission to be human. So, let me ask you, when you make a mistake, what do you usually say to yourself? Do you think, "I'm hopeless. I'll never get this right"? Or do you think, "Okay, I made a mistake, but I'll try again. I'll learn from this"? Your answer says a lot about your mindset and how much space you give yourself to grow, with love rather than judgment. Now, let's talk about another big part of self-love: consistency. So many people give up on self-care or personal growth because they think they're not doing it right or perfectly. They try for a few days, make a mistake, and then stop completely. But the truth is, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. That's where consistency comes in. It means doing something regularly, even if you're not perfect at it every single time. It means showing up for yourself again and again, not just on the good days when you feel motivated, but also on the hard days when you feel tired or discouraged. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you decide to speak English every day for 10 minutes. Some days you might feel confident and do great, speaking easily. Other days you might feel tired or unmotivated, and it's hard to find words. Maybe you even skip a day completely. A perfectionist mindset would say, "See, you failed. You missed a day. Just give up now." But a consistent, self-loving mindset would say, "Okay, I missed a day. That's fine. I'm human. I'll try again tomorrow. I'll do my 10 minutes then. See the difference? One gives up. The other keeps going gently, patiently, and with love. This brings us to one of the most helpful phrases you can remember. Progress, not perfection. That means it's more important to keep moving forward, even slowly, than to try and be perfect all the time. In fact, perfection doesn't even exist in real life. It's an idea, not a reality. If you're always chasing perfection, you'll always feel like you're failing, because you'll never reach it. But if you focus on progress, you'll start to see your growth. You'll start to feel proud of the journey, not just the final result. Self-love grows when we show up for ourselves, over and over again. Not just when everything is going well. It grows in the messy moments, the quiet moments, and the moments when we choose to keep going, even when it's hard. You don't have to get it right every time. You just have to stay with it. So, think about your mindset. Do you allow yourself room to grow? Or do you judge yourself every time you make a mistake? And what small thing could you do regularly, even just once a week, to support your own progress and self-love? Maybe it's journaling for 5 minutes. Maybe it's taking quiet time to breathe. Maybe it's continuing to listen to this podcast as part of your personal growth. Whatever it is, remember this: progress, not perfection. That's how we grow. That's how we change. And that's how we learn to love ourselves. One step, one choice, and one kind word at a time. Life isn't always easy. We all go through hard times. Maybe we fail at something we really care about, like a big project at work or a difficult exam. Maybe someone we love hurts us, or we have a disagreement with a friend. Or maybe we just feel lost, tired, or stuck, not knowing what to do next. In those moments, it's often hardest to be kind to ourselves. But this is exactly when self-love matters most. It's like a warm blanket when you're cold. It's easy to be nice to yourself when everything is going well, when you feel happy and successful. But what about when everything feels like it's falling apart? Let's be honest. When things go wrong, many of us hear a loud voice in our heads saying things like, "You messed up. You're such a failure. You always do this." Or, "Why can't you just be better? Why are you so weak?" That's the inner critic we talked about earlier. And when we're already in pain, that voice makes it worse. Imagine falling down and hurting your knee, and then someone comes and kicks you while you're on the ground. That's what we often do to ourselves emotionally. We beat ourselves up with harsh words, instead of helping ourselves heal. But self-love during hard times is about doing the opposite. It means choosing compassion instead of criticism. It means saying to yourself, "Okay, this is hard, but I'm doing my best." Or, "It's normal to make mistakes. I'm human, and it's okay to feel this way." Think about it this way. If your best friend, let's say Liam, was struggling, would you yell at him and call him weak? Of course not. You would probably say, "I'm here for you, Liam. It's okay. You'll get through this. How can I help?" So, why don't we talk to ourselves that way? Why are we so much harder on ourselves than on our friends? Have you ever noticed that some people seem stronger after a failure or a setback? It's not because they never feel bad. It's because they don't stay in the pain forever. They allow themselves to feel it, to cry, to rest, to reflect. And then they get up again, slowly, step by step. That's real strength. And it starts with being gentle with yourself, especially when life doesn't go as planned. Let me share a short story. A few years ago, I applied for a job I really, really wanted. It was my dream job. I worked hard on my application. I did several interviews, and I really believed I was the perfect fit. I imagined myself working there, but in the end, they chose someone else. I was crushed. I felt so disappointed and sad. For days, I kept thinking, maybe I'm just not good enough. Or what if I never succeed in my career? What if I never find a job I love? It was painful. But then a small part of me, my inner coach, whispered, maybe this wasn't the right job for you right now. Maybe something even better is waiting. I decided to take a break from looking for jobs, talk to a trusted friend about how I felt, and go for long walks to clear my mind. I allowed myself to feel the sadness, but I didn't let it take over. A few weeks later, I got another opportunity, a different job offer, and it turned out to be even better than the first one. It was a perfect fit for me. Looking back, I'm so grateful I didn't give up on myself. I just needed time, patience, and a little kindness from myself. Here's something to think about. What do you usually say to yourself when things don't go as planned? Do you treat yourself with care? Or are you hard on yourself? It's important to be aware of these moments, because every difficult experience is also a chance to grow, to learn, and to practice self-love in real life. Sometimes people think self-love means ignoring your problems, or pretending everything is okay when it's not. But that's not true. Self-love isn't about avoiding pain. It's about staying with yourself through the pain. It's about not abandoning yourself when you need support the most. And remember, setbacks are a natural part of life. Nobody succeeds all the time. Everyone has doubts, makes mistakes, and feels disappointed now and then. What makes a difference is how we respond to those moments. Will we be cruel to ourselves? Or will we choose to stand by ourselves with courage and compassion? The next time you feel like you've failed, or you're going through a hard time, try this. Pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and say something kind to yourself. Maybe say, "This hurts, but it's not the end. I will get through this." Or, "I'm allowed to feel this way, and I'll take care of myself through it." These small acts of self-love can give you the strength to keep moving forward, even when the road is rough and difficult. So, don't wait for life to be perfect to love yourself. Practice loving yourself, especially when it's messy, when you're struggling, when you feel like giving up, because that's when it counts the most. So, now that we've talked about what self-love is, why it matters, and how it can be challenging sometimes, you may be wondering, how can I actually start practicing self-love in my daily life? The good news is that you don't need to make big or dramatic changes. You can begin with small, simple steps. Remember, self-love is not a place you arrive at one day and stay forever. It's a practice, something you choose to do over and over again, especially when life gets tough. One of the first and most powerful ways to practice self-love is to become more aware of your inner voice. Start noticing how you talk to yourself in your mind. Are you being kind, supportive, and understanding? Or are you being too critical, too harsh, like a strict judge? Many people are surprised when they realize how negative their self-talk can be. So try this. The next time you make a mistake, pause and ask yourself, would I speak to a friend like this? If the answer is no, then it's time to change that voice. Speak to yourself with the same kindness, care, and respect you would give to someone you love. That's a small but powerful act of self-love. Another helpful step is journaling. Writing in a journal can help you process your thoughts, understand your feelings, and recognize your strengths. You don't need to be a great writer. Just be honest with yourself. For example, you can write about what went well in your day, what you're proud of, or what you're struggling with. Even writing 1 or 2 sentences each day can make a big difference over time. It gives your emotions space to breathe, and it helps you see yourself more clearly and kindly. Creating space for rest is also incredibly important. We live in a world that often celebrates busyness and productivity. We are told that we must always be doing something. But your worth is not measured by how much you do. Rest is not lazy. Rest is necessary. When you give yourself permission to rest, whether that means sleeping well, taking short breaks during your day, going for a quiet walk, or simply sitting in silence for a few minutes, you are saying, I matter. My well-being is important. That is self-love in action. Another simple practice is saying no. Many of us feel pressure to say yes to everything, to help others, to work late, to attend every social event, even when we're tired. But always saying yes can leave us feeling exhausted, stressed, and even resentful towards others. Learning to say no is a way of protecting your time and energy. It doesn't mean you don't care about others. It means you also care about yourself. That balance is healthy and necessary for your well-being. You can also try something as simple as placing your hand on your heart for a few seconds and taking a deep breath. This small action reminds your body and mind that you are safe and supported. It may sound simple, but it's a grounding practice that many people find calming, especially in stressful moments. It connects you to your own inner peace. And don't forget about gratitude. Take a few seconds every day to notice something good, something you're thankful for. It could be your health, a kind message from a friend, the taste of your favorite food, or the quiet of the early morning. Gratitude helps shift your focus from what's wrong to what's right in your life. And that shift is a form of self-love, too. It helps you appreciate your own life and your own being. You don't have to do all of these things at once. That would be too much. Start with one. Choose what feels easiest or most natural for you. Then keep going. Self-love isn't about being perfect. It's about being present, being real, and being gentle with yourself, even when things aren't perfect. And remember, this journey takes time. Be patient. Be consistent. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are learning. You are growing. And that in itself is a beautiful act of love. So ask yourself, what's one small thing you can do today to be kind to yourself? That one step is more than enough to begin. You are already doing something good just by being here, listening, and learning how to take better care of yourself. As we come to the end of today's episode, I want to take a moment to reflect on everything we've talked about. I know we've covered a lot of ground, many new ideas about self-love, its challenges, and how to practice it. But the main goal was never to make you remember every small detail. The goal was to help you start thinking differently, to help you look inside yourself and begin noticing the thoughts, beliefs, and habits that are shaping your life, both the ones you consciously choose and the ones that were put there long ago, perhaps without you even knowing it. Throughout this episode, we explored what self-love truly means, treating yourself with the same kindness and respect you'd give a loved one. We talked about why it can feel hard sometimes because of inner doubt, negative self-talk, past experiences, and outside pressures. We learned about the inner critic and how to listen more to your inner coach, the voice that supports you. We also discussed many small, practical acts of self-love you can do every day, like saying no, resting without guilt, setting boundaries, celebrating small wins, and practicing gratitude. You've learned that your mindset plays a huge role, and that a growth mindset helps you see mistakes as chances to learn, not as failures. And we emphasized that consistency and patience are key. Real change takes time. It's about showing up for yourself, even when it's hard, and trusting the process, even when it feels slow. Now, as we finish this episode, I want to remind you of something very important. You have the power to change your inner world. Yes, you do. No matter your past, no matter your current habits or fears, you can create new beliefs. You can change old thoughts. You can build a life that feels more peaceful, more confident, and more like who you truly are, and who you want to become. You have this incredible power within you. So, here's my final encouragement to you. Try just one thing from today's episode. Don't feel like you need to change your whole life at once. That can feel too big and overwhelming. Start small. Maybe you choose one short positive phrase to repeat every morning. Maybe you write down your thoughts at night in a journal. Maybe you simply start to notice how you speak to yourself inside your head and choose to be kinder. That one step, that tiny action, can be the beginning of something truly powerful, like a small stone creating big ripples in the water. And as you do this, be gentle with yourself. There will be days when you feel strong and full of energy, and days when you feel stuck or a little sad. That's okay. Growth is not about being perfect. It's about being present, about showing up, about continuing. Keep walking your path, one step at a time, and trust that every step you take is leading somewhere good, somewhere better for you. Before I go, I want to thank you, truly, from my heart, for spending your time with me today. I hope this episode gave you something valuable, something that speaks to your heart and mind. If it did, I invite you to do two simple things. First, share this episode with a friend who might need to hear this message, who might be feeling a little lost or stuck. Your sharing can make a big difference for them. And second, journal about one new idea you learned today. Writing your thoughts can help you connect deeper with the ideas and make them a real, living part of your life. And of course, I'd love to have you back next time. This channel, English in Fluency, is not only about improving your English, it's about improving your mindset, your communication, and your life. You are growing in more than one way, and I'm honored to be part of that journey with you. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in yourself. I'll talk to you soon.